Hey, welcome back. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is Hidden Histories, the Untold Files. Picture this. You wake up on a cold February morning. You step outside your cottage, and there, etched into the pristine blanket of fresh snow, is a single line of footprints. But they're not human. They're cloven, like a goat or a devil. And they don't just cross your yard. They stretch from your doorstep, over your 8-foot garden wall, across the frozen fields, over the roofs of houses, and disappear into the horizon. And you're not the only one seeing this. For 100 miles across the English countryside, everyone is seeing the same impossible trail. This isn't a scene from a fantasy novel. This happened on the night of February 8, 1855, in the heart of Victorian England. Something left what became known as the Devil's Footprints. And the mystery of who, or what, walked across the county of Devon in a single night has never been solved. So let's set the scene. It's the winter of 1855. The world is in the grip of scientific and industrial revolution. Charles Darwin is about to publish on the origin of species, steam trains are connecting cities, and the idea of the supernatural is being pushed aside by rational, mechanical explanations. Then, this happens. After a heavy snowfall, residents across a swath of South Devon, from the Yexi estuary to the town of Totnes, woke to find a bizarre, continuous trail of hoof-like marks. The prints were, on average, about 4 inches long and 3 inches across, shaped like a small horseshoe. But the pattern was all wrong. They were in a single, unwavering line, as if the creature had only 2 legs and hopped with an impossible stride of exactly 8.5 inches. The trail showed no sign of starting or stopping. It went straight through gardens, over haystacks, across the frozen rivers of the Exe and the Ken, and even, as multiple witnesses swore, up and over the steep, snow-covered roofs of houses. It passed through drain pipes as narrow as 4 inches in diameter. It went for an estimated 100 miles, all in one night. The immediate, terrified conclusion for many was simple. The devil himself had gone for a walk. Now, the Victorian press, as you can imagine, had an absolute field day. The Times of London picked up the story from local papers, and suddenly, a regional curiosity became a national sensation. Theories flew. Superstitious folk held that it was an omen, a literal sign of the devil's presence. Others suggested more outlandish ideas. A runaway experimental balloon dragging a shackle, a hopping kangaroo escaped from a private menagerie, even a badger with a peculiar gait. But the most enduring theory, and the one that really captures the imagination, came from a naturalist of the time. He proposed it was a mouse. Not just any mouse, but a field mouse. And the trail wasn't footprints, but the marks left by its body and tail as it hopped through the deep, crusted snow. This explanation was championed by many as a rational, scientific answer. But, and it's a big but, experienced woodsmen and hunters immediately pushed back. The stride was too regular, too long. The prints were too deep and clear for a creature that light. And most damningly, the trail went in a perfectly straight line for miles. Mice don't do that. They zigzag, they forage, they hesitate. This trail looked purposeful, direct, and unstoppable. This is where the mystery deepens from a weird anecdote into a genuine historical puzzle. Because we're not dealing with one hysterical witness. We have multiple, independent accounts from farmers, vicars, doctors, and policemen, people considered reliable in their communities. Their testimonies aligned on the basic facts, the shape, the single line, the impossible obstacles traversed. And this consistency is what makes the devil's footprints so compelling. It's not a myth that grew over centuries. It's a documented event with a clear date and a chorus of credible voices all saying, "I saw this thing I cannot explain." As an engineer, I'm trained to look for the flaw in the system, the broken component, the logical explanation. And my mind wants to find it here. Was it a weather phenomenon? Some bizarre effect of melting and refreezing snow? Unlikely, given the specific, repeated shape. A collective hallucination? The timing and geography make that practically impossible. A elaborate, coordinated hoax? In 1855, across 100 miles of rural countryside, with no social media or fast communication to synchronize it, the scale and precision required boggle the mind. Every single rational explanation we throw at this event seems to hit a wall built by those very same eyewitness details. The mouse theory collapses under the weight of physics. The balloon theory can't account for the consistent, short stride. The hoax theory fails the logistics test. We're left with an event that simply doesn't fit neatly into any box. And that, I think, is the real power of this story. It's a crack in the solid, confident veneer of the Victorian age. Here was a society that believed it was mapping the world, taming nature with industry, and explaining the universe with new laws of science. Then, one morning, it woke up to a trail in the snow that defied every single category of understanding. It wasn't just a mystery of what, it was a mystery of how. How does something travel like that? The footprints forced people, from the humble farmer to the London newspaper editor, to confront the limits of their knowledge. It was a humble reminder that the map is not the territory, and that there are still edges to the world that remain stubbornly, wonderfully fuzzy. For me, Ibnul, sitting here in New York over a century and a half later, the Devil's footprints aren't just a ghost story. They're a testament to the human need for narrative. We look at a line in the snow, and we have to tell a story about it. The Victorians told a story about the devil, or a runaway kangaroo, or a determined field mouse. We might tell a story about extraterrestrials or secret government experiments. The evidence hasn't changed, but our stories have. They reflect our own world's fears and fascinations. The footprints themselves are neutral. They're just data. The mystery is the mirror. So what walked across Devon that night? We will almost certainly never know. And perhaps that's for the best. Some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to be pondered. They keep our sense of wonder alive. They remind us that history isn't just a record of what we understand, but an archive of the inexplicable. The next time you see a fresh snowfall, take a look. You never know what stories might be waiting, one step at a time, to be discovered. Thank you for listening to this episode of Hidden Histories, The Untold Files. If this journey into the unexplained resonated with you, please share it with someone who loves a good mystery. For more deep dives into history's forgotten corners, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This is Ibnul J. Farabi for Light Not Studios. Visit us at lightnotstudios.com. Until next time, keep looking.